So in this video we're going to focus on what's called the discriminant. Now the discriminant is a special name given to a part of the quadratic formula of b squared minus 4ac. Now if we go back up here to our quadratic formula, we can see the b squared minus 4ac is the portion of the formula that occurs underneath the square root symbol. And that piece is defined and called the discriminant. Now what does the discriminant do for us? The discriminant is actually a quick way for us to be able to look at our quadratic equation and determine what kind of solutions I'm going to end up with, as well as what the graph of it will look like. So if I am looking at the discriminant and I take b squared minus 4ac of whatever quadratic equation I'm looking at, and I get back a positive value or a number greater than 0, then I end up getting two unique real solutions, which is for the most part what we normally end up with. We have two real solutions. And the graph of that is a picture of it is over here. What we mean by that is our solutions are these points here where we are crossing the x-axis. And so if my discriminant is positive, then my two solutions are these points here that are graphed on my real number line, my real number system. Okay. What happens, however, if I look at my discriminant and I get a discriminant that's equal to 0? Well, that tells me that I only have one real solution, and it's a repeated solution. The graph of that looks like this. You can see here that my graph comes down, it touches the x-axis, and then it bounces back off. But it's only touching it at one place here in the real number system. So that's what it means when we equal 0. Now, the last one we're looking at, though, is what happens if my discriminant is less than 0 or negative. Now remember, my discriminant is the portion of the formula, quadratic formula, that is under the square root sign. And can I take the square root of a negative number and get a real value? Well, the answer to that is no, and you know that already. So I have no real solutions that occur, but I do have solutions still. It's just they're imaginary or complex in nature. The graph of this would look like this right here. Notice that this function or this quadratic doesn't touch the x-axis anywhere because there are no real solutions, and we graph in the real number system. So the graph of a negative discriminant happens to look like this. Okay, so the discriminant is telling me not only whether I get real versus imaginary solutions, but what kind of graph should I be looking for. Now let's see if we can practice that on this example right here. I want to use this quadratic equation to determine from the discriminant the number and the types of solutions I should be looking for. Now remember again, the discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. And if I pull those values out of this quadratic equation, I get b to be negative 7 squared minus 4 times 2 times a negative 4. Okay, simplifying that whole thing, I find out that that is equal to 81. Well, 81 is definitely greater than 0, so this tells me that I'm going to have two real solutions to this quadratic equation. And I know that if it were to be graphed, that it would look something like this, where I'm crossing the x-axis twice. That is the value of the discriminant.